Welcome to the second episode of First Past the Post podcast. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by my mate Liam Fitzgerald again. How are you, mate?
Great to be back, mate. Been looking forward to recording this.
Yeah, and me. We've left it a few weeks, but we've had to wait for a special weekend ahead. Of course, we all know why, don't we?
Yeah, great weekend ahead racing wise.
Yeah, and we'll obviously touch on the ARC that is, of course, going to be happening this coming Sunday over in France. But yeah, I mean, I just want to say firstly before we start episode 2, just want to say thank you to everyone who listened to the first one. We appreciate. I had a few comments back from a few people. They all seem to enjoy it, and yeah, thank you for everyone following us as well. So here's to this episode and future ones in in the coming weeks as well. So I hope you're looking forward to that as well, mate.
Yeah, I'd like to second that as well. Thanks for all the feedback and thanks to everyone who tuned into the first episode.
Yeah, love it. So yeah, we're just going to touch on our first episode where we had our tipping competition between the two of us, and I can say I am winning after the first week, only by a point. We explained our the points system, how we're going to do it last week. So we're just going to go over St. Ledger Day at Doncaster and our picks, and just say where they came and how many points we racked up. So yeah, if you start with yours, mate. You had in the first one La Polga. I had Fall of Rome. La Polga came second, Fall of Rome came third. So not a bad little start for the both of us there.
Yeah, 2 points for me there.
Yeah, one for me. And the next one, you had Venturous. I had When the Dealing's Done. Unfortunately, both of us couldn't get either in the top 3 there. So that was a bit of a shocking tip from both of us there.
that might become a bit of a common theme.
Do not be surprised. We're not professional tipsters.
Hope not anyway.
The third one, you had Loose Sail, and I had Reach for the Moon, who I think actually has been announced that Reach for the Moon's out injured for the year, I think.
I think so, yeah. I think I did read that.
Well, Reach for the Moon came second. Yours, I think, came absolutely
pretty
nowhere.
Sure Lucille came. I think Lucille came last.
I think so.
I was shocked. I thought it was a poor ride, but that shocked me.
Reach for the Moon second in that. The fourth one, we both had Dania, didn't we?
Yeah, I think Dania came towards the back as well.
I think Dania came last as well.
Yeah. Great start.
The next one, we both had Hurricane Lane, who of course is going to be talked about a bit later on as well, isn't he?
Yeah, very good horse.
In the ARC, of course, running over there. Of course, Hurricane Lane did win on St. Ledger Day, which was probably the most obvious bet of the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And then the penultimate one, you had Title and I had Dark Jedi, and Title actually went and won, didn't it?
Yep, he's actually running on Saturday as well.
Yeah, so
Title, I've got him in my tipping competition again.
Oh right, we're keeping a keen eye on him then going forward.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was 3 points for you in that one. And the last one, just quickly cover it. You had Cruyff Turn, and I had Royal Fleet. And Royal Fleet. I think
Cruyff Turn was a non-runner.
Oh, was
it? Yeah.
Well, I mean that's going to happen sometimes,
Yeah.
I think my nap last time ended up being a non-runner, so that's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
But Royal Fleet did go on to win that. So yeah. After the first week, I ended up winning by a point. So here's to this.
Unfortunately, no points on the nap for either of us as well. I had Tarnara, who came a close second to St. Mark's Basilica, but I was really impressed with her ride that day.
Yeah, looks very, very strong.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I am winning by a point. And if anyone wants to get involved in this sort of thing, just by letting us know your tips, for the races that we're going to cover, just let us know on our Twitter. You can follow us at FPTP Podcasts, and let us know. So mate. So shall we go on to talking about the two horses who sadly got announced a couple of days ago that they'll be retired, which is obviously Min and Altior.
Yeah, two legends of the game, mate. Legends of the game.
I mean, start with Min. I think 7-time Group 1 winner. Yeah. And actually was Altior did beat him 3 times, which shows actually how good Altior was, wasn't he?
He was one of the best of the modern era. I think he was very unlucky. He bumped into Altior during the same era. He could have had a few more wins on his record if Altior wasn't about.
100%. I mean, that is just unfortunate. And Altior ran up an unbeaten sequence of 19 races over both hurdles and fences between October 2015 and April 2019, which of course included wins at Cheltenham Festival.
4 of them.
4, the Novice Hurdle, Arkle Trophy, then wins in the Queen Mother Champion Chase in the following 2 seasons after that. I mean, to end up with a record of 24 races and 21 wins. I mean, that he is honestly one of the best. One of the best
of all time.
100%.
I mean, just between them two, I must say 17 grade 1s between them. You can't fault that, can you?
Not at all. And I think Ruby Walsh came out and said, because he was in the saddle for 7 of Min's wins as well. Obviously partnered him to a lot of success, and he came out and actually said, quoting him, Min was a wonderful horse. He was part of a wonderful era. It was unlucky for Min that it was the same era as Altior, but for racing you need 2, and it was great. And he was a really, really good horse, and he had some great days. And that's what you touched on there, mate, didn't you? You said obviously in this area it's just unlucky he came up against Altior.
Very unfortunate. I mean, there's no shame losing to Altior.
Not at all.
But both of them 2 great champions for sure.
100%. I mean, were you ever at a meeting where Altior or Min were?
Unfortunately not, mate. I wish. I really wish.
Yeah, I think I wasn't, but I think my uncle was at a meeting at Sandown when Altior was running. I probably have to ask him about that and see if he got up close to him in the paddock and that.
Yeah, Tingle Creek maybe.
Yeah, that was one
Sandown.
Yeah. But I mean, what a horse! Honestly, you don't get horses like that very often, and hopefully it's not too soon until we see the next Altior. I'd like to say.
I did actually see Nicky Henderson come out with a quote the other day or in an interview, and he said he doesn't recall Altior ever putting a foot wrong.
Really?
Like with his jumping, and he said even training him at home, can't recall it, and I certainly can't recall seeing him make a mistake in a race, or his jumping was just exceptional.
100%, and obviously, it was the right time. They know it as well to retire him now, but
definitely, I did say a couple of months back, I think it was the right time to retire Altior. I mean, you could tell he wasn't the horse he once was, but he didn't owe anyone anything.
No. I mean, as long as he's fit and healthy, it was the right time to retire him, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I just hope they both have a happy retirement.
100%, and we wish them well. So yeah, we'll move. Shall we move on to our tipping competition then?
Yeah, definitely, mate. I'm up for that.
We've got this week. We've got a bit of a mix and match. We did pick out 3 races at Newmarket and 3 races at Ascot for the coming Saturday. Yeah. So a bit of a mix and match this week. See how it goes. So mate, do you want to kick it off with your pick for the first race at Newmarket that we picked out?
Yeah. So the 220 at Newmarket. I've actually gone for Favourite Child. Bit of a longer shot, but 16-1. Her trainer has a 20% strike rate over the last 14 days. She's a distance winner, and I had a look at her weight. She's only carrying 8 stone 2 pounds. she's come close in 2 of her last 3 races as well. I think she's had a couple of seconds, and she had a 5th in between there.
Yeah.
But this is quite a big field. It's another big handicap, so
30 runners, isn't
happen.
it? 30 runners. Yeah. I've actually gone for Foden, which is quite a funny name. What they must have named him after Phil Foden, surely.
Old Phil, yeah.
For Richard Hannon, for Hammer Hansen taking the steering. Confirmed debut. Promised one easy winner of 13 runner maiden at Lingfield in June. He's going to surely go on improving. So I think in that sort of race, he's got big possibilities. I mean, if you're having a little punt in this, you've got to go each way, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely.
But I do like Richard Hannon's horses, and I think Foden could go quite well, and he's my pick in what is a race where you've got to say it's a bit of a lottery, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
The next one, mate. The half 3:30 at Newmarket.
Yep. I've gone for First Officer. I think it's his maiden. He's a colt out of Galileo and trained by Roger Varian. Roger Varian's yard is actually in very decent form at the moment, so that swayed me towards him. Also, Ryan Moore takes the ride as well, so I've gone with him. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I've picked out Philly Stein for John and Fady.
Yeah.
Philistine,
I had a look at that. Yeah.
John and Fady Gosden. I mean, it's making its debut, so €30,000 yearling, closely related to French 6.5 furlong winner Amfrati, and I think John and Fady Gosden, they will not send a horse on debut if they don't think it has a chance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's quite an expensive purchase of a horse, and I think it could go quite well on debut, and I think that's quite an exciting looking colt to look forward if it does go on to win. So one to keep an eye on that, I think. So quite an exciting little pick there. So I've gone with Philistine, yeah. So the third of our races at Newmarket, the 440.
Yeah. I'll let you go first on this one. You go first on this one.
I've gone for Flame of Freedom.
Yeah, I've gone for the same there.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
There's going to be one month there where we fit the same.
Yeah, definitely.
Buick on board. Eve Johnson Horton's horse is actually in quite good form.
Yeah, I've got exactly the same down here.
Progressive filly
on my notes,
who actually arrives at Newmarket on Saturday in the search of a hat-trick following victories at Epsom and Kempton in recent weeks. Expected to go well again. We'll probably continue the theme of steady progress, and you would hopefully expect maybe take up the hat-trick.
Yeah, I've pretty much got the same on my notes. I mentioned the hat-trick, yard in great form. Also Buick, who's riding great as well, picks up the ride, and I said she should also have no problems on the going as well. So yeah, that's what I've got on my notes.
Just to mention a £3 higher mark, which is not ought to prevent a bold bid to complete the hat trick.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've gone for the same there. So the what's that?
I've got a feeling in the next race we could have gone for the same again. Because I know you do like this horse, but we'll get onto that now.
I do indeed, mate. I do indeed. Well, we'll see. So the 205 at Ascot.
Yeah.
Which is our fourth race. I have actually gone for Dakota Gold.
Same. I thought you would have.
You knew it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a cracking sprint of a horse. He had a cracking 2020, winning Group 3 listed events. He didn't really fire that well last time out, But I think the ground, well, hopefully if it continues to ease, that will help him a lot.
Yeah.
And it's hard to not make a case for him, I think. And if, like I say, the conditions suit him, I think he's probably the class act in the race, and probably is ought to, pick back up his form and take this.
Yeah, I said the same, and I said I'm just banking on him to get back to last season's form. He looked really class last season, so
exactly.
I still think there's a class horse in there.
100%, mate. Yeah,
just lost his way a little bit.
Yeah, 100% agree. So the next one will be the 240 at Ascot, right?
Yep.
And I think this is where Title comes in.
Yep, I've gone for Title again.
Do you want to? How come you picked Title out again?
I just said I'm sticking with him. He won for me last time in the tipping competition. His form's very, very consistent in his finishing in places.
It is.
So even if he doesn't win, I'm hoping he can pick me up a couple of points in second or a point in third. But I also said he was 4 lengths behind Alan Kerr when third. And obviously, Alan Kerr, quality horse, running in the Arc this weekend. So that's great form. Should stand him in good stead.
Yeah. No. Nice little pick. I've gone for Hookham. A horse which has a lot of class. I think
I actually was there.
I was just going to mention
that last time out. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, he couldn't get the job done, and he did come second, didn't he? Just edged out.
Yeah, just didn't look up to it that day.
Yeah.
Don't know if there was something wrong but just didn't impress me that day at all. Hopefully, just a bad day at the office.
Yeah, I think after watching that, it was a bit of a messy sort of run race, I thought.
I
mean, you'd think, with a clearer way through this weekend, 8 runners. I mean, he's a very smart colt, and he just got edged out. So if you're looking at the form, he sort of is the form picker along with Title. But I'd say Hookham's just a classier horse, and I think he'll get the job done this weekend.
It's the last race, isn't it, at Ascot?
Yes,
425.
420. So this is our 6th race, isn't it?
Yeah.
So do you want to? You can go, mate. Last one.
Yeah. I've gone for Call Me Ginger.
So have I.
Oh wow. I just said won the Bronze Cup at Ayr, consistent form, 3 wins and a 2nd place in his last 4 runs. And I said, looking at the weights, 8 stone 6 looks to be very respectable compared to a lot of other horses in the race.
I mean, look at the last few races that he's run, and that well handicapped one at Haydock. He lost out only to a well handicapped one. Sorry, at Haydock, and I do think with the allowance jockey will be getting remains of interest, and I do like Jim Goldie's horses. Actually, I've seen them in the past. I do like to pick those out actually. So I think Call Me Ginger could be a big threat. He's thriving at the moment. So so that's my pick as well, mate.
So what was that? 3 out of 6 the same?
I think it was. So
that's a sign.
That is a sign. It could end up being probably be a draw, won't it? I'll beat you.
Got to get on the treble, ain't we?
So we look forward to that. And of course,
so
we like to give
moving on to the nap.
Yeah, we like to give our naps.
Sorry,
that's all right. We like to give our naps for the weekend. Hopefully, I have better luck, which I'm very confident in this week compared to the other week where it actually turned out to be a non-runner. So my nap is actually a filly who I have kept an eye on since she made her debut, which is Beholding in the
great horse.
She looks to be a very great horse. 405 at Newmarket on the Saturday for John and Fady Gosden. Rab Havlin on board again, and I tell you what, I mean, I think I told you about this horse. She made her debut at Kempton. She went off actually 10-1. She came third out of 11, but if you watch the race, you can watch it back. She actually came from a very long way back, didn't she?
She came right from the back and nicked to third. It was a great run from the back to get a place out of nowhere. Put it in the tracker straight away that day.
Yeah,
and I think in her last 2 runs, she's won by like a ridiculous amount of lengths in both of them.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think she's beaten much, by the way, but
she hasn't. But the manner of the way she's won both of them. I mean, her second run.
You can't ignore it.
Exactly, her second run at Lingfield, and then her one just gone at Kempton. She went off at 8 to 11 favourite both times, and like you say, I think combined lengths in both of those wins was probably about. It must have been 20 combined.
I think maybe getting on for 30.
Yeah.
It was something ridiculous.
25 lengths at least combined, and for me, I can't pick out a better nap for Saturday's racing, and 2-1 at the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised if she goes off shorter again.
Yeah, I think she was actually quite a big purchase at the sales, if I'm not mistaken. I think they paid quite a big price for her.
Really? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I'll have to double check that though. But
well,
obviously she's showing the potential now, so
of course, if that's the case,
surprise me.
It's a very exciting filly, and I must say, watching her, I don't think. You know, we love our horses, and you know when a horse just grabs your attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, she looks the real deal. She looks the part. So yeah, that's my nap. But holding in the 4:05 at Newmarket for Saturday. So what's your nap of the weekend, mate?
I was gonna go for Tarnawa, but I went last time with Tarnawa. I still think she'll win the Arc, but we'll move on to that after this. But I'm staying at Longchamp, and I've actually gone for Trushan.
Interesting.
In the Prix de Cadran.
Hope for some rain.
Yeah, I read there's going to be 25 millimeters of rain they're expecting. So if they get that rain, it should suit him perfectly. I mean, I think if that rain comes, Strad will drop out 100%. It's just a shame. Obviously, Holly can't take the ride. She's banned at the moment, but I still think he should win.
100%. Yeah, no, I like that choice. Fancy the double there? Trushan and Beholding.
Yeah, I wouldn't put you off it.
No, good picks for by the two of us there, I think. So we'll see how they get on the weekend. So now moving on to what is one of the best races you're ever going to see every year, which is of course
my favorite flat race, hands down.
Yeah, the Arc de Triomphe over at Longchamp this Sunday. We're just going to give it a little bit of a preview, and we might as well say who we think is going to win as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, some of the horses, this looks to be sort of arguably one of the best Arcs in recent years.
Yeah.
And we were having a chat, weren't we, off recording, that the draw is very important in this race, and
definitely.
I think the past sort of 11 winners at Longchamp have broken from stall 8 or lower, so that shows, you know, there's something in it. Of course, you get the odd horse that defies those high draws, but I mean, like you were saying to me, mate, you can explain in more detail if you want, but the higher draws, it's harder, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, especially if you miss the break as well. I mean, the one thing I would say with the weather they're expecting over there, the draw is still going to matter to some extent, but if it's really soft or really heavy, it won't matter as much. A lot of them horses are going to be knackered halfway, especially some of the ones who aren't as good. But yeah, like you said, definitely one of the best Arc fields in recent years. Some people would argue ever. I mean, some of the horses you've got in there, some ridiculous talent on display. It's going to be a cracking race. I can't Can't wait for it, mate. Honestly.
I know. Roll on Sunday, and right. So we're just gonna go through. We might as well go through every horse. Final field of 15 have been revealed today. With I think Tiona got dropped out, non-runner for Roger
non-runner.
Varian. So I mean, we touched on the going as well. I mean, it's likely to be sort of a bit of a wet affair. I mean, soggy Monday in Paris was followed by a sunny Tuesday. Rest of the week looks to be sort of a mixture. The going currently described as good, but heavy rain, like you said, forecasted. And yeah, it could well be going to soft. So, you know, we'll start with the first one, Adyar. I mean, if he goes on to win the Arc, does he go down as one of the greatest horses we've seen?
I said this to you the other day. If he wins the Arc, he's got to go down in that sort of category. I mean, to win the Derby, King George, and the Arc in the same season, it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, Adyar, of course, beat Mojo Star and Hurricane Lane in the Derby, and those three are obviously going to go off again, meet each other on Sunday. Obviously, he had Hurricane Lane well adrift in third when he was the winner of the Derby, and then put Mishriff and Love. I mean, that's not, that ain't just pulling two horses out of a hat, is it? It's Mishriff and Love, two top horses, and he beat them in the King George at Ascot. And with that form, with Buick on board, honestly, it's a very, very scary prospect, I'd say. And draw 11, which is not ideal, like we mentioned. So he will have to overcome that. But with Buick doing the steering, you'd have to have faith that Adyar will go close, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. That's the thing as well. Charlie Appleby lately, he's been on fire with his runners. Godolphin, that's going to come into play as well. Yeah,
and of course he has Hurricane Lane as well, which again, a top horse. So yeah, shall we carry on going through each runner, mate?
Yeah, definitely. I'm up for that.
It is an Arc special after all.
Yeah.
So Alan Kerr, you touched on him, didn't you?
Yeah. I said with his form line with Title.
Yes. And I mean, current odds for the Arc at 25-1, which is obviously a very big price. But Alan Kerr back in April did actually beat Adyar at Sandown.
Yeah.
But of course, look what Adyar's gone on to do.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Exactly. But he's got a point to prove, I think. And he did follow up when he won the King Edward Stakes. But of course went on to have defeats against Hurricane Lane and Mishriff, which is, I mean, it's again, to lose to them is no harm in that, is there?
The only one thing I would say is yet to win a Group 1.
Yeah.
So
that is important factor to look at as well. I mean, these are a couple of the big odds for the Arc. Baby Rider, probably one of the biggest outsiders going. He had previously made up the numbers in the French Derby. At that price, you haven't got much hope, have you, for horses like that in the Arc?
No, I think there's only 4 or 5 I think can actually win it this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Broome, though, big price, 50-1 currently. He is Aidan O'Brien's runner, isn't he?
Yep.
His recent form isn't the worst, but he is quite effective when the ground is quite soft. So if there's more rain, that could, that can only benefit him. He's had 4 wins this term, winning back over in France. However, since then he's been brushed aside in the King George, where he was essentially used as a pacemaker, and then was beaten on merit by Deep Bond in a race over in France as well. So again, at that price, you're not so sure. But then again, Aidan O'Brien runners do seem to run a big race at big prices.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the last of the sort of big outsiders. Bubble Gift, only one bit of Group 1 form, came 6th. Again, similar to Baby Rider, same odds at the moment. Bred to cope with conditions like this. But yeah, another outsider. You can't really put much hope on that, can you?
No, I wouldn't go near him, to be honest.
No. Here's a very, very interesting runner for the Chronogenesis. I think Asheen Murphy is actually taking the ride.
Yeah.
Go on,
great Group 1 form out in Japan, but the only thing I would say is it's got a terrible draw. Draw on 14th. So,
and I think I watched an interview with Asheen Murphy yesterday, and he was saying that Chronogenesis is actually Japan's best sort of middle distance running horse, which is it's exciting because you've got obviously horses from Japan coming over for this, and apparently she's a strong traveller with a potent turn of foot. So I mean, anybody's guess really for her quality, what she'll end up showing on the day. But she does look a very, very exciting horse, and 4-time Group 1 winner over in Japan as well, isn't she?
Yeah, I think she's definitely Japan's best chance in this race, to be honest. But I think she could come close, but I don't think she's got enough to win it.
No. And moving on actually quite nicely to that Deep Bond. I think you mentioned to me the other
Japanese horse.
Yeah, you mentioned me to the other day, didn't you? Maybe a potential each way shout.
I think if you could get extra places with a bookies each way, then potentially I don't think he's better than Chronogenesis.
No.
Certainly not Japan's best chance, to be honest. But like I said, if you could get extra places with a bookies each way, I would be tempted to have a little bet on that, to be honest. Maybe if you could get 4 or 5 places.
100%. And I think, he did actually sort of do well in a recent race over in France in the Prix and that will give connections of this horse hope that he can hopefully be in the mix. But looking back at the form over in Japan, winning twice at Group 2 level, but coming up short 4 occasions he's tackled Group 1 races. So that probably does tell you something. Coming up against better horses, he's not quite at that level. But like you say, if there's a few extra places, you never know with Deep Bond. Hurricane Lane. I mean, this
he's brilliant.
I'm a very big fan, and I'm sure you are, of this horse.
Definitely, mate. The one thing I would say is I think in the Derby he wasn't at his best.
No,
he's gone on to be better since then.
Because he was third to Adyar, wasn't he?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see him again against each other, to be honest, especially with Hurricane Lane getting a more favourable draw. But yeah, I think that'd be an interesting matchup to see if he can reverse that form over Adyar.
Yeah, and looking at his recent form, obviously successive wins in the Irish Derby, Grand Prix de Paris, and of course the St. Leger. I mean, that's not bad form, is it?
Yeah, definitely. Can't fault that at all.
But I mean, what a horse! And one thing to sort of mention as well, obviously William Buick did the steering on him, but you can't really blame Buick for sticking with Adyar because you can't turn down a Derby winner, can you, and a King George winner?
Yeah, definitely. I
Um,
mean, what would you do if you was given a choice to ride both?
well, it's got to be Adyar. If you like we
Yeah,
said earlier, if Adyar wins this, look at the 3 races he's won in this season.
I think I would slightly side with Adyar, but it'd be tough, especially obviously they don't know they don't choose before the draw comes out. So I think knowing that draw, I think I don't know. I think I might side with Hurricane Lane.
Yeah.
I just think that draw is a lot more favourable. I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes ahead of Adyar.
Right. Well, we'll soon see. And obviously James Doyle takes the riding, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this horse next up, Love. I mean,
No, mate, I'd love to see her get back to her best. Honestly, I love that horse.
I know she is absolutely superb, and she's obviously suffered 3 successive defeats now.
Yeah.
But like you say, I mean, it would be nice to see her come back to what was great form she showed. But again, in the arc, I can't see her sort of having a chance personally. But I don't know. It's difficult to see Love giving Dettori also a 7th win in the race.
Yeah.
I mean, Connection's hoping to dodge soft ground, which obviously looks
That's
like
the
that
thing.
might not
If
happen.
it is very soft, I can see her not even running at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, she is honestly again one of these horses that you just sort of have a connection with. I feel she is brilliant.
Yep. If there was one horse to beat Tarnawa, I'd want it to be Love. 100%.
Yeah, and I think this is we've got a couple more of the big priced horses just to finish off before we touch on your favourite and another horse that's fancied to do quite well in Snowfall. But Mojo Maker, again, massive price.
Mojo Star.
Sorry, Mojo Maker. That's another horse, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry, yeah, Mojo Star. Group 1 form, finishing a couple seconds in there.
Yeah.
But
finished second in the Derby, in fact.
Well, that is that is big form. Finishing runner up in the Derby and the St. Ledger. That is that's great form, and maybe it's surprising that he's sort of a huge price with 2
great draw as well, stall 1. So
yeah,
I mean, I think the price has actually been smashed in a bit since the draw.
Yeah, well, yes, you'd expect that. And he looks all stamina, and I don't think the trip will that. It'd be surprising if the trip at the Arc does sort of hinder this horse's chances.
Yeah.
But I mean, testing conditions would also be a bonus for him. So it's one to keep an eye out. If the price sort of continues to dip, then it's one to get excited about. I think at a bigger price.
I just think I don't think he's good enough to win an Arc. Maybe for a place. I think he's one of them horses that just don't know how to get in front.
Yeah. I suppose that is. Yeah, you're not wrong there. And yeah, next up we've got Rabia. Very exciting filly. Staying on 5th in last year's renewal. Having chased home Tarnara, in fact, in the Prix-Vermille on her previous start. And I think she'll need a lot of luck in running, plus sort of maybe obviously the top horses in the race to have a bit of an off day for her to maybe place at a best sort of hope for her. But quite a smart filly, and I'll be excited actually more so to see what she can do going forward in her career.
I don't think Rabihar's got a chance, to be honest.
No.
No real Group 1 form there at all. I don't fancy.
No. I agree. Yeah. Another big price. We got Seal away. Again, the Group 1 form isn't the best, is it?
No. I mean, actually has won one Group 1. But
yeah.
Since that Group 1 hasn't gone on to do anything else at Group 1 level.
I mean, there's a question here whether he will stay sort of this far in what could be quite a true run race on soft ground as well.
Yeah. However, I would say wasn't beaten far behind St Mark's Basilica in the French Derby.
Yeah.
And apparently wanted a bit of a trip. So
it's a bit of a double-edged sword with him then.
Yeah.
Interesting one. Yeah. So we've got three more to talk about. We got obviously two of the big ones, but we'll just touch on the last of the big odds. Torquator Tasso. Group 1 form is, if you look at the Group 1 form, it's actually quite good, isn't it?
The one thing is it's out in Germany. So...
Exactly. Yeah. And that's not the best, but probably out of all the biggest outsiders in the Arc this year, I think this one's probably will go off maybe at the biggest price because of that form
agree.
in Germany.
Yeah, I agree with that, mate. 100%.
Top older horse in Germany, it's going to be sort of, it's going to be hard. It's going to be very, very hard. So we'll leave your favourite till last, the best till last, people might say. Snowfall. I mean, Snowfall, there's a question mark about her, She hasn't.
I mean, she got beat last time out by Tiona, who's obviously a non-runner in this race. But she has raced a lot this season. So I wonder if fatigue is a factor, maybe.
I mean, her only claim to fame in 7 starts as a 2-year-old was when she was involved in the Fillies Mile. But she's been a revelation this year. But I'm not sure. She hasn't really beaten much.
Yeah, I mean, she obviously she won at Epsom. I mean, record 16 lengths on soft ground. So the one thing you could say is, if the ground does go soft, then it might sort of favour her. She's drawn in stall 9, I believe. So
stall 9, yeah.
I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, could be a lot worse. I mean, she's certainly not. I don't think she'll be far away. I don't think she'll win it, but I don't think she'll be far away.
Yeah, she is an interesting one. Like, don't get me wrong, she's top horse, but I mean, let's say Sunday's her sort of true test, isn't it, to see what she will now do against these top Group 1 horses. And so the final horse, your girl Tarnawa.
Oh, mate, love her.
I mean, you have convinced me now to get on the Tarnawa train.
It's only taken about a year.
I tell you what, I think that form behind St Mark's Basilica last time out.
Yeah.
There was only 4 runners, but she actually did get trapped in by him a little bit.
Well, she got carried across the course.
Yeah.
And still only finished half length behind him. So
against St Mark's Basilica as well.
Yeah, I mean, the best 3-year-old in Europe.
There's
highest rated horse in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, she's been faultless on her form at the end of last year. Obviously, reeled off successive wins in the Prix Vermeil, Prix d'Opera, and the Breeders' Cup Turf, which highlighted all of the class she's got. Versatility as well. But I mean, I think she does it. I think she does win.
Yeah, I think that if you go back and look at her Breeders' Cup Turf win, I mean, the way she won that in style was unbelievable, mate. I knew when I watched that she's something special. And if you see what Christophe Simeon's been saying this week, he said he thinks she's something out of the ordinary. And Dermot Weld saying he thinks she's one of the best he's ever trained. Like Christoph Sumion said again, when has Aga Khan ever had a 5-year-old mare in training? He doesn't really train them on this long. Usually retires them to stud. So Dermot Weld said to him, keep her on and aim her at the arc, and that's been her sole purpose all year. I mean, you get some of these horses running here, like Snowfall. She wasn't aimed at the arc since last year. Like, she's just burst onto the scene this year, and she's having a crack at it. But Tarnawa, they kept her on specifically for this race, and she's been lightly raced compared to a lot of these other horses. I just think, I think she's got a great chance, mate. It'll take something special to beat her. She's got a great draw as well.
I mean, like you say, well drawn in stall 3. It's difficult to think that she's not, she ain't gonna not run a big race here, honestly. Yeah. And no, I'm with you, mate. I think we can both say now we both think Tarnawa wins the Arc this year, honestly.
Yeah, I think she does. 100%. I'll be gutted if she doesn't.
And yeah, it's exciting. I just can't wait to watch it. And I mean, you've got to let the viewers know again your anti-post bet on her.
I've got a slip 35-1 Tarnawa to win the Arc.
35-1. I mean, that when you sort of told me that, and it obviously all got confirmed and everything with Tarnawa going and the draw, everything. I'd like to see her win. She's a very, very exciting horse, and for your sake, mate, I really, really hope she does it, because I'll be cheering her on more so than I would without knowing that. But I hope she does it.
I did tell you last year. I said, trust me, get on this horse for the Arc next year.
I know.
I told a few people, and I mean, you don't expect her to really, do you know what I mean, carry on the form. Because when I told you, she was just, I think she had won the Prix Vermeil.
Yeah.
And maybe the Prix de l'Opera. And I said, she's something special. And I mean, she's carried it on this season as well. Like, she could have easily gone off the boil a bit. We've seen other horses do it, like Love. But yeah, mate, she's a cracking horse.
It's exciting. So we do think Tarnawa wins the Arc. And anyone listening, let us know the big race on Sunday. Who you think, or if you're going to have a bet on the day, or you've got a bet beforehand, who you think is going to win the Arc? It's sure going to be a very, very, very exciting race. And yeah, just can't wait for Sunday now.
Even if you're not having a bet, just make sure you're tuning in.
Yeah.
Because it's not one to miss. You don't see races like this very often. No,
it's arguably the best race in a year, isn't it, for horse racing, really? Flat wise anyway. But yeah, no, I enjoyed that, going over all the Arc runners.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
So yeah, I think that's a wrap. That's a wrap. Yeah. So yeah, thanks again everyone for listening. We'll get this out, get it all tweeted on our Instagram, where you can follow us on Instagram, First Past the Post Pod. Like I say, on Twitter at FPTP Podcast, on YouTube, First Past the Post Podcast as well. It'll be on YouTube and Spotify. And yeah, give us a follow. Let us know what you think, and hopefully everyone enjoys the racing, especially on Sunday. And we can't wait for it, that's for sure. So So yeah, nice one, mate.
Yeah, nice one, mate.
Yeah, so we'll see you, and we've actually got, for our third episode, just a little. We'll let everyone know on our socials, but we do have a guest coming on for the third episode. So
yeah, I can't wait for that. Should be a good episode.
So yeah, we'll see. I'll see you then, mate. And thanks again, everyone, for listening. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, nice one. Thank you, guys. Cheers.